Hey, real quick before the video starts, guys, we have a sale going on right now on our website. You can go to baronsgames.com, go over to our shop, and use discount code 2026, or you could even reuse the code from our Christmas event. We've extended it all. It's the same event. So, stocking, that'll give you 10% off all Mini Meeple Melee products. So the core game, any of the expansions, all three of those. Run over there, get yourself a copy if you don't already have one. Enjoy the video.
Hello, welcome to Baron's Game Room. I'm Aaron as always. And for my first video of the year, I guess technically that Winter Rabbit video turned out to be my first video of the year since I sat on that for so long. But this is the first time I'm recording in the new year. The holiday season's pretty much over now. I've got my Monday morning recording time back open for me to do. So yeah, let's get back into this. To start this year off and to get back in these videos, I thought what I'd like to do is talk a little bit about sort of what happened and what we did last year with the Baron's Game Room and what our plans are and ideas for this year with the Baron's Game Room. I guess talk about last year's sort of quick in that we actually really didn't get to have any releases this year, which we'll get into more later. What we did get to do is we get to attend some awesome conventions. TokenCon is always a yearly one for us, so we always, absolutely love. Can't wait for this year's TokenCon. Great time as always. We ended up attending AdventureCon, which is our first time going to an out-of-state convention. The closest we've been to that before was a couple years ago. Me and a friend from Salamander Games, another cool local designer company around here, publisher. We went to BGG-Con, but we didn't go with like a booth or anything. We just went and sort of attended the convention just as normal attendees while also spending a lot of time in the unpub room with some prototypes we had. So not quite your usual con experience. So this is our first time getting like a booth at an actual out-of-town one. AdventureCon was over in Arkansas, right next to the big Walmart area. But I don't know if it was technically in Bentonville. I can't quite remember. But a lot of Walmart stuff around that area. Funny enough, if you know, I do actually work at Walmart. And apparently they use the same Wi-Fi for all their stuff because the apartment was right across the street from a stadium that Walmart paid for, the concert venue. And the Wi-Fi there was large enough that I could reach it from our booth and the convention. My phone was just naturally linked up to it. I thought that was hilarious. And we went back to Lexicon. Lexicon isn't one that's been running for a long time. They did their first one in 2019, and we went and had an awesome time. And then when they finally decided to get started going again, after all the COVID stuff and everything, I believe it was 2023 where they started back into it, 2024, when they started back into it. And we made sure to hit them up about attending because we loved it so much the first time. They were happy to have us back. And then the same for this year too. 2025, same thing. They were happy to have us back. It's been a great time. We love going to that one. It's becoming another favorite of ours for the year. And yeah, that was really all we got to attend as far as conventions. Originally, we had intended to go to more conventions this year, as since Mini Meeple Melee came in late 2024, we were saying, well, we need to get out to as many conventions as possible to get all those extra copies sold that are sitting out in the garage. And unfortunately, that just didn't quite pull through. You know, we had a baby last year, and that obviously took some precedence and some time up for us that we didn't exactly have to go out to some conventions and all that. We are hoping we can make up for that this year. Baby's getting a little older, as well as we simply understand that we have to get out if we want to sell anything. So there might be, hopefully there'll be some more conventions this year. We do currently have some plans. It looks like we might be going to a convention every other month this year if our plans follow through properly, which would be fantastic. You just simply may not be seeing the Baroness with me every time. We might have to have her staying home with baby a little bit. You know, aunts and grandmas can only watch baby so much. But anyway, you're not here to hear about conventions. If you want to hear about our games, because that's what you watch us for, because we, of course, do have plans for games, whereas last year fell through. We'll go ahead and talk about why last year fell through. Originally, for last year, we were planning on releasing Wanton Destruction as our official release of the year. Hopefully, you've been to one of our conventions or prototyping events and you have seen us playing this game. In TokenCon 2024, we were talking about it being our next release. We had found an artist. Unfortunately, like right after TokenCon that year, we had issues with that artist and had to cancel that contract. We spent the rest of the year finding a new artist, found one towards the end of the year, and he had started into some work. If you were at our TokenCon booth last year, you saw that we you saw that we did have some posters with us of art that artist had already finished. Things with that artist have been going great. And actually, all the art for Wanton Destruction, the base game, is entirely done. The promo card art is all done. And the art for the expansion has all been drawn up line art and colored in. Most of them, there's like 3 that still need to be colored in from their line art forms. And then that will all be done. The reason it's not all done entirely right now is because, one, we've spent this extra time this year working on the expansion some more, so we've added some more stuff to it, as well as with the reason we didn't release it this year, we gave him some free time to back off and not have to work on it so heavily. So we're more relaxed with the artist on getting the art when he got it done. Like I said, originally our plan was to have that released in 2025, do a Kickstarter for it. Unfortunately, living in America, our current administration's tariffs made that just not possible. At one point last year, I believe the tariffs for China spiked to like 325, 345%. Absolutely insane. There's just no way to produce games under that, especially games that, like Wanton Destruction, that need to be for a cheaper price. Like, I love the game. I think it's a great game, but no one wants to pay, over $30 for a family-friendly, fun little card game, when that's what's going to have to happen with tariffs like that. So we had to put it on hold for the tariffs. It'll be on hold until either the tariff situation is sorted out or until I guess people get more used to the higher costs that come from the tariff situation anyways. And hopefully we can, it'll be more acceptable to put it out for what we have to pay for it. Well, because of that, since we had to cancel our 2025 release of Wanton, we immediately dove quickly into figuring out what we could do for the year. One thing we immediately dove into was trying to find some new prototype games we could make that possibly we could get produced here in America. America does not really have the infrastructure needed for large-scale board game production. There's just not companies that do that around here. But what America does have is a lot of guys with CNC machines, laser cutters, and various other woodworking tools and devices. So, coming up with some sort of luxury all-wooden piece game would be something we could get made in America. And we found one. Now, I did talk about this in an earlier video last year. I may have talked about it in my original video talking about the tariffs. If not, I believe I talked about a couple of prototypes we had already quickly started working on soon after. One of them being a game we're calling Turn. I don't think we were calling it that back then. If we quite figured out a name. But currently we are calling it Turn. T-E-R-N. Turn. And it is a tile-laying game where you are playing down these tiles with numbers on them. When a tile with a larger number touches a tile with a smaller number, and they are opposite colors, it causes the one with the smaller number to flip. Basically, once that other one flips, if it's now touching any other tiles that are smaller to larger, different colors, they'll also flip. So essentially, every time you play it on a tile, you're making these chain reactions of tile flips. And prototyping and testing for that has been going great. People are loving it. It has gotten to a really good spot already. I absolutely think it's already ready for a release, which is why we started looking for someone to produce it a few months ago. Also, it's no longer that crappy little cardboard version. I ended up making a fairly nicer wooden version that I bought a bunch of wooden tiles for and then painted and carved in this myself. I wonder if you can see this on the camera here. But, yeah, that's just like etched in with little like hand etcher. I had to hand etch all these things, guys. I do a lot of work for this company sometimes. A lot of arts and crafts I did not expect to be doing. But yeah, it's been going great. We've been looking for someone. Well, we were looking, and we found someone pretty quick, actually. We found a gentleman that lives in Maryland that said he could get 100 copies of the game done within the price range we were wanting. He believes he can, get the quality we want done and all that, and it's been great. Originally, we were going to already have a prototype of it made up, and we were even considering if we could maybe get it done fast enough to try and do a fall or a late fall Kickstarter. Unfortunately, that guy ended up breaking his shoulder towards the end of last year. So he has been out of commission for several months while that's healing. But he's good now. He is good and healed. He's been working again. He's been finishing up another project. I need to get back in touch with him this week. And we should be ready to get started on the first prototype of the game. Once he sends that to us, if we think everything's good with it, we will end up using that to make all of our pictures and videos we need, and then we'll try and get the Kickstarter up as fast as possible. This will be a limited run game. Like you might have heard me say, we're only going to be producing 100 copies of this version. It's going to be a beautiful deluxeified game. All the components are going to be wood, possibly a metal coin. So like no plastic or anything in this. It's going to be a wood box. It's going to be all wood tiles. Everything's going to be wood and stuff in this. Our plans are for it to be a very beautiful kind of game. So not just a cardboard cheap version. That means it will be a little more expensive too. We are expecting to have to sell this for between $60 and $75. Prices are still getting nailed down on that. But yes, beautiful deluxeified game that we can hopefully have on Kickstarter soon. That will definitely give us a release this year. We were hoping maybe last year, but should certainly be a release this year. Now, as for other releases and all that, if you're wondering about Wanton Destruction, we do think we might have to put that one off until next year, simply because Kickstarter doesn't like you doing multiple campaigns at one time. So we would have to entirely finish up the Turn campaign before we'd even be allowed to do something with Wanton. There is the possibility that we could try and do it in the fall, but we don't really like doing fall time campaigns. We did it with Mini Meeple, and that sort of solidified that's not really what we like doing. We prefer doing them around the spring, summertime. One, tax season, so people have a lot of spare money, hopefully, to be able to spend on stuff. And two, that gives us plenty of time to like get the process rolling and starting, even with delays, and get paid, get the companies paid. Because if we get a large sum of money sent to us from Kickstarter, and then we don't end up getting to spend some or all of that, the part that's not profit, the part that's just funds being raised to pay for something, we still get taxed on that. So if we end up getting a bunch of money in and then we don't get to pay the company to start the process, we're going to get taxed for money that we didn't actually make. It was just sort of passing through us as a middleman to the company, to the factory. So doing it earlier in the year sort of avoids that issue. With Mini Meeple, thankfully we were able to get at least the first down payment to GameLand before the end of the year. But we would prefer if we could maybe get an entire payment process finished before the end of the year. So that's why we probably won't do Wanton Destruction this year. But if we don't do it this year, it will 100%, assuming nothing crazy happens. Again, I don't control the world. I certainly don't control this country and its tariffs and taxes and all that. So assuming nothing too wild happens, it absolutely will be our release first thing of 2027. And real quick, I guess while I got you guys here, I'll show you guys a little bit of how the cards look, because again, I think these all look super great. I'm very happy with how these cards have turned out. I hope you guys end up being very happy with them as well. I hope you guys end up loving this game. The cards are all pretty much done, and now we just need to work on making a pretty box. Everything, and then it'll be totally good. But whereas Turn is meant to be our main release this year, we do not want it to be the only thing we're putting out this year. Another idea we had last year to sort of help with the whole tariff situation was we wanted to attempt to diversify our portfolio a little bit and expand our reach. Physical releases are always going to be the main bread and butter of what we do here. It's always going to be what we are striving to do, is to release beautiful physical editions of our board games. We love physical board games. It's why we do what we do. But that doesn't mean we have any disrespect or don't acknowledge things like digital board games. In fact, one of the newer team members of our team, Ian, you've probably met him if you've been to one of our conventions this past year. He's actually pretty good on the computer and has been trying to learn how to put things into Tabletop Simulator. And he believes things are going well for that. So hopefully this year you'll end up seeing some of our games there. And of course, we'll be doing an announcement anytime any of them go up. But yeah, he's working to get some of our games put on Tabletop Simulator, so our games will be more available to a wider audience, more easily accessible, which will, hopefully will end up being fantastic. I mean, look, I just want people to play our games, so that just giving people the option to play our games is fantastic. But hey, it would be really cool if some people end up playing it, liking it, and deciding they want a physical one too. Bonus. We also, it's a bit of a joke around the local design groups that we kind of come up with lots of ideas. It's a bit of a joke that every time there's a new playtest meeting that we always come with something new. Which I'm sure some of you already know if you attend some of our conventions, because we know a lot of you have been waiting for some of our game ideas you've played now for, well, unfortunately, years. Because, life happens and things sort of get in the way and, whatever. I'm not going to keep going on about the stuff that delays. It happens. You guys know. So, that means we do have lots of games that we are planning to release. I mean, at this point, heck, if we didn't come up with any new ideas, I think we could have a release, a single game release every year for like a decade easily. But, yeah. Because of that, because we have a lot, we are trying to find ways to get stuff out maybe a little faster if possible. One thing that recently came to our attention are themed months that some of the crowdfunding sites do. Kickstarter and BackerKit both tend to, not necessarily collaboratively, but yes, at the same time, I guess, do these themed campaign months like Zine Quest. One of our friends, Absurdist Productions, had a lot of success publishing some little short one-off RPG zines through Zine Quest, which is a month where if you're releasing stuff like that, they basically just give you extra push. They'll push you out to more people. All that puts you to the top of the page more because you're releasing what they're focusing on. Well, another one they do is apparently called Micro May, where, again, Kickstarter and BackerKit, if you are releasing a micro game, any sort of small pocket game, they will end up pushing your game more. And with that, we thought, well, that might be a good opportunity for us to possibly get a few more releases out. Now, if you've been paying attention to our page or gone to our tables, you know that we actually kind of have a lot of micro games, unintentionally, totally, at the time. Obviously, Medieval Melee is a micro game, but that's already been mass-produced, so no reason to mess with that. But we also have games like The Cure, whoa, stay in your box, The Cure and Gimblems, and of course, our technical very first release, Button Mashers. Heck, you may even call Rondel a micro game. As well as we do have some prototypes that probably will qualify as well. So we thought, since you can't run two campaigns on the same crowdfunding site like Kickstarter in a year, because you have to fully finish one for the next. And the thing is, the reason why we always stick with Kickstarter is because that's just sort of where the crowd is right now. You need a crowd to crowdfund to, and the audience is just mostly on Kickstarter. Not to say there aren't people that are over on GameFound and BackerKit and stuff, but for the most part, Kickstarter is just still the main place people go to back projects like ours. However, with something like a micro game that'll hopefully be very cheap to produce, it's just a few cards in a box, and getting extra boosts, being in a special themed month and all that, we thought it'd be a good idea to maybe try out releasing one of our micro games through BackerKit. Since it'd be on a different platform, we'd be able to have two close together. So sorry. We thought this would be a great opportunity to maybe possibly get 2 releases in a year. Turn would be over on Kickstarter. And we figured for our first one to try out this Micro May, we would try and go for a full release of The Cure. Currently, The Cure is available over on the Game Crafter, which it's still available there. But whereas we love the Game Crafter, they are a fantastic company that helps us so much with our prototyping. The fact is that they simply cannot compete with the mass production costs of getting something made like in China. China is always going to be the cheaper place to get stuff made, so you can sell stuff at a cheaper cost. Currently, we have to sell these for like, I think $15 or so on the Game Crafter itself. And if you buy them from us when we, bring a few with us out to conventions and all that, they're $20. And that's us barely making like any profit on it. I think we make a couple of dollars or so off of a Kickstarter. I mean, off of a Game Crafter purchase, and we make like $5 off of a physical sale. So those were released more to just give us more things to have and show, make our booths look better. Those were not ever fully released as a profit thing, but the plan is to have full mass market releases of them someday, mass production. So that's going to be our attempt. It's in May for the Micro May. We're going to try and do a campaign for The Cure here, which will allow this game to be made for a much cheaper price, hopefully, which will allow it to be sold for cheaper. Because while I do love this game, I do understand that it's not a $20 game. It's what we have to sell it for, but it's just not a $20 game. This is really a $10 or less kind of game for sure. And if that goes well, we do, like I said, have several other micro games that this could probably hopefully be a yearly thing. So maybe each year for a while we'll have our main Kickstarter release while also having a micro May release over on BackerKit. As I said, the Cures is our plan for this year. We'll certainly end up going with Gemblins maybe by next year. There's, of course, finally doing a full production of Button Mashers. There's also a spin-off one from this, which is the solo mode, the big bad boss battle mode that I had originally made for Super Combo Fighters, where this game comes from as well, that I have also worked into a little wallet version like this. As well as maybe even Super Pocket Fighters. I mean, it's in the name, Super Pocket Fighters, so finally getting that one out. Talking about all the Super Combo Fighters, I want to say something to any of the people watching us that have been with us since those Super Combo Fighter days. That stuff is still coming. In fact, let's talk about that now. One huge delay on this has been the art for it. The artist for that was very young when we started this, and over the time has just not really had a lot of time to work on the thing. Life has come in the middle of it, and we were always very forgiving, especially since we ended up probably getting him for way cheaper than we should have gotten all this art for. Honestly, if these games do well on Kickstarter, we'll probably send him some extra money as a thank you because we understand that $20 a piece of art was just way too small for what we were getting from him. But we were all very young and just starting into this when we first started speaking. I didn't really know what you're supposed to pay for art yet. He didn't really know what he should be charged for art yet. And here we are. It's been a very slow process, but it's all done now, actually. We've gotten all the art done that we need for Super Combo Rollers, which has been bumped up to the main releases of the Super Combo series now. Currently, I believe our plan for that one is for that to be the release after Wonton. If something crazy happens and we just can't do Wonton for some wild reason, Super Combo Rollers will be the one that takes its place. But yes, that is one of our main box releases that we were planning to get out. At this point, 2027 should be Wonton, 2028 should be Super Combo Rollers. As far as the micro games, they'll either be released during the Micro May thing, if that works, or they will be stretch goals, hopefully unlocked in the Super Combo Rollers campaign. As art is all done, one thing that we have been talking about for a while is that we were always sort of annoyed with ourselves. We thought it was very silly that we didn't put any life trackers or anything in Button Mashers, as you just have to like pull out a pen and paper or calculate something to keep up with it. And that was silly. We thought you should have some of that in the game. And hey, now we do actually. We have recently made up these life trackers for Super Combo Rollers. So basically, we have all of our fighters here. Hopefully you guys can see these well. We have all of our fighters here on the cards. They have larger art for larger cards that they would have been on in the main game, but we made these sort of tight shot versions for this. And it's pretty simple. Basically, you're just going to take your character, and you're going to take this card and put it behind it, and then you'll just lower it down as you take damage. And it keeps track of how much health you have. If it's totally covered, you have 25, 24, blah, 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 blah. And once you reach the bottom, flip the card over, and just, there you go. 0. You're KO'd. We're happy with these. They look pretty great. Finally happy to have something like that in this game. If you have a copy of Button Mashers, if you're one of the few people who have bought this game from us over the years, I know it's not that many. But if you're one of the people that did buy this game and you want one of these, hey, be sure to reach out to us. Just send us an email over at baronsgames.com and, you know, include a little picture of your copy of Button Mashers, and we'll end up sending you one. We'll probably ask you to pay for the shipping, but otherwise we won't charge you anything for it, just the shipping to get it to you. If you end up coming and meeting us at any of our conventions, we'll have them there as well. And if you tell us that you're someone who's bought Button Mashers, we'll just give you one, honestly. We're not trying to make profit off of these. These will be added into all the current copies we have of Button Mashers, and oh yeah, they didn't go in there. Whoops. These are just going to be in any new copy, so if you buy a copy, this will just be in there now. And again, if you're someone who's already bought one, we've got a copy set aside. We've got some of these set aside for you to get if you come by and visit at a convention, or just cover the shipping on it. And man, I think that might be all of. Man, I've been talking for longer than I thought I would. I think that might be all of my things I gotta say. Not quite. So sorry, because I know one game another you guys have been asking about a lot is Grabby Goblins. That's right. There was one more thing to get to. Yes. It's Grabby Goblins. Grabby Goblins has been a game we've been bringing out to conventions for a few years now. Again, it's been going very well. People have been having a lot of fun with it. It's a real-time trading game, similar to Pit, with a lot of extra like scoring and messing around cards going on in the game. It's been going well. We've had a lot of people asking at the playtest we've been running at TokenCon the past few years about when they could finally get this game. We have been doing more updates and all that. In fact, I have the newest version of it here that does have a lot of new cards in it that weren't in the game before. So we are still working on it, but it is reaching a point where I think it will be in a finished state very soon. And whereas I've already mentioned we already have a plan for this year's release and the next couple of years' release, that's kind of putting it pushed back as a mass market release. But whereas we are trying to move a lot of our games up from Game Crafter versions to massive production versions, it doesn't mean we have an issue with releasing stuff through Game Crafter. We do like just having more games available for people to buy, and we have some plans for that as well. I did mention that Turn, the nice, beautiful wooden version of the game, it won't be in the back of this, it'll be a nice, beautiful box, is our main release for this year, but some people might not want to pay these $60 or so for the beautiful wooden version of the game, but still want to play the game. So we are already building out a version of it you can entirely get from the Game Crafter. It'll be cardboard chit tiles, and it'll come in just a normal cardboard box and everything. But it'll be a completely functional version of the game that'll should be available for like at least half the price, I would assume. Probably about $30 or so. I'm not quite sure yet. We haven't got all the pieces made up and posted. But that was our idea. Was this year we wanted to have maybe a few more Game Crafter releases. Games that are technically available, probably for more than they will eventually cost. Like I said, you know, this is going to cost you $15 or so on the Game Crafter. And I love this game, but again, it's not worth that much. But I don't want to not have our games out there. I don't want to not give people access to our games. If you want to play our games, we want to get them to you. That's our plan this year, is to hopefully have a Game Crafter version of Grabby Goblins up on the site. We're going to have a Game Crafter version of Turn up on the site. And honestly, we might even put up a Game Crafter version of Wanton Destruction as well. What we will for sure have this year is our print and play version available on our website. So keep our eyes out for that. So there will hopefully be plenty of ways you guys can get some of our games to the table this year, even if we're not quite getting to our full-scale mass production releases. Now, I think that's everything I need to talk about. I've been rambling on for so long. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for supporting us so much. Thank you guys for just everything, guys, really. Whereas there's been lots of, you know, ups and downs with this whole venture and things we didn't, know how to plan for and all that. In the end, it's just fantastic. It's so much what we love doing. We love going to these conventions. We love talking with you guys. I love telling people about my games. I love playing my games with other people. I love just watching people play my games. I love going to a playtest event and a table sitting down and me just kind of standing there and watching and seeing everyone's reaction to stuff. It's a feeling I really can't explain how amazing it is to just see people really enjoying something I made. I think I've always been a creator. Some of you may know that I used to be a musician, before I started all this board game stuff, and I still dabble. And yeah, it's always been something. I've always really enjoyed watching people enjoy something I made, and this has been fantastic. The company has been growing and growing, and as much as all these delays and stuff have been slowing it down, it's still getting there. At this point, it's starting to get self-sufficient. For the most part, when we go to conventions now, we end up making enough sales that we at least cover the booth cost and hotel cost when needed of the things, and that's great. We even sometimes make a little bit of profit. TokenCon last year, I think we made a few hundred, which is amazing. It's so cool that we're starting to get something from this. If there weren't so many issues and delays with Mini Meeple campaign, we probably would have made a little more profit off of that one. At this point, yeah, I think it really feels like a reality, like a possible reality, that in a few years this could possibly be at least a part-time job. Like I might be able to actually drop down to doing a little bit less of my normal 9 to 5 job, maybe, or just having more money around you. And it's just fantastic that it's working out. I'm so happy. I'm sorry I'm continuing to rant even after ranting for so long. It's been really amazing, guys. Thank you all so much. Thank you all for support. I'm so sorry if the game of ours that you've played and you're wanting to come out is not coming out for a while. Unfortunately, trust me, if I had the money to just throw all of them at a factory right now, if I could just have all of these games mass produced right now, I would. I would love to just go, hey, make me all dozen of these games. Let's get a minimum run of all of them and just have all of these games to release to you guys. I really wish I could, but since we have to go through crowdfunding, then we are forced to work with that limitation, and that limitation is unfortunately going to be us only getting to release 1 or 2 mass-produced games a year. Thanks, guys. And I guess real quick on that turn game, it's only going to be 100 games for the Kickstarter, but if they all sell, the guy's more than happy to have a long-running contract with us where we'll kind of maybe regularly have more and more releases of that. I don't know if we'll have to do a Kickstarter for it every time. If they all sell, we'll probably just have enough money we can set to the side to do another print run later in the year, the next year. So for the billionth time, thank you all so much. I'm Aaron. See you next time.